Chapter 6, Oh Rats. When Alec came home from school, his father called to him from his study. "For the 20th time, Alec, please clean your room. Your mom and I have other things to do, like taking care of the baby." Alec groaned as he dumped his backpack in the foyer. "I'll get to it, Dad." But Alec never got to it. Why should he? His mother always did it for him anyway. He had other things to do, like hanging out with his friends. Even plucking his eyelashes out one by one would be more enjoyable than cleaning. "Son, you need to show some responsibility," his father warned. "Your mother won't keep cleaning up after you anymore." Alex shrugged and went to the kitchen. He doubted Dad really meant it. He grabbed a banana from the counter and went to his room. To prove his point, he smiled at the respectable mess, ate the banana, and dropped the peel to the carpet. Just wait and see. Then he went outside to find his friends at the park. What Alec didn't know was that his father really did mean it. That very evening, while Alec slept, his parents quietly discussed their son's fate in their bedroom. "The boy has no respect for authority," his father said. "Not a modicum of responsibility." "I agree," his mother said, as she placed a sleeping Serena in her crib. "If not him, then who? If not now, then when?" "Without a doubt." "I know what we need to do." His mother let the words hang in the air and smiled. "What?" Alec's father leaned in as she laid out her plan. They were going to do something unthinkable, unimaginable, unspeakable. They would do absolutely nothing. When Alec awoke, the scent of banana drifted to his nose, and he wondered if his father was making banana pancakes. He grinned, stretched, and plucked a dirty sock off his t-shirt. Blurry-eyed, he got out of bed to get ready for the day. As he crossed the room, he slipped and fell to the floor. Ugh! To Alec's surprise, yesterday's banana peel was still lying out. Perhaps Mom hadn't got to her regular room inspection yet. He peeled the banana from his foot, got up, and laid the peel nicely on the floor again. When Alec returned home from school that day, the house was eerily silent. Alec peeked down the hall. "Dad?" "Yes, Alec," his father called from his study. "Just checking." Usually someone would ask him to get to something right when he came in. He went to his bedroom and opened the door. That was odd. The banana peel was still on the floor. "Mom!" Alec called. "What is it?" his mother suddenly replied from the neighboring room. Alec flinched from surprise. His mother stepped into the hallway with baby Serena, who was sucking a pacifier on her hip. "Why does my room still look like the same?" Alec asked. His mother's face drew a blank. "Were you expecting something different?" He could very well say that he was hoping his mother had picked up his room. "No, everything's fine. See you later, Mom." Confused, he stepped inside and shut the door. As he surveyed the mess, he crossed his arms and tried to figure out the perplexing situation. Then it came to him. He knew exactly what his parents were up to. This meant war. For the next week, Alec not only let his mess grow, he went out of his way to make it worse. He knew that there would be no way his neat freak mother and watchful father could stand to see Alec's room turn into a disaster. Naturally, they would have to give in first. But what Alec didn't know was that his parents had already seen worse from their children. Vomit in cars, urine on the walls, and blowout diapers. Piles of dirty clothes, food crumbs, and rotten banana peels didn't faze them. Alec still refused to pick up his room. If he did, he would upset the balance of the universe. In Alec's mind, things like the cleanup of bedrooms were better left to the people who did them best. His mother was great at it. He was not. If he picked up after himself, he would be sending the wrong message. His parents might actually believe he was capable of such a task, and then things would really change. So Alec continued to sully his living quarters to a reprehensible state. It got so bad that Alec had to hurdle piles of clothes and junk just to make it to his bed. The stench of rotting bananas began to mix in with the odor of moldy cheese. Even Alec could hardly stand the smell, so he opened the windows for some fresh air. He stuck his head out the window and smiled. Problem solved. Another week went by. Since his parents still hadn't lifted a finger, Alec dirtied his room with a vengeance, thinking his parents would surely cave when trash began to flow out of his window and into the yard. Word spread among his friends who had caught a glimpse of Alec's mess from the bus stop. Dude, your room is an epic disaster, one commented. I can't believe your parents don't make you clean that, said another. Lucky. You should post a video of it to the internet, said a third. It's inspiring. His friends wholeheartedly supported his cause. If Alec won the battle against his parents, they vowed they would do the same thing themselves and end all room cleaning for good. Hearing this, Alec felt a surge of pride. But the next week came and went. Instead of being magically clean, Alec's room looked like it needed to be quarantined in a self-contained bubble to prevent the spread of communicable diseases. On top of that, Alec had run out of clean clothes. Before he resorted to re-wearing his dirty stuff, he rescued really old clothes from the depths of his closet. Problem solved again, even though his Batman pajama bottoms were cutting off his circulation. A week later, Alec began to hear scritching sounds coming from under his bed at night. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Alec tried to ignore it and closed his eyes to sleep, but the sounds persisted. Scritch, scritch. He snapped on a pair of headphones and smiled. Once more, he'd found the perfect solution to the problem. Now, he only had to endure the feeling of tiny rodent feet skittering across his chest while he slept. Not long after, things changed at last. The phone began to ring off the hook. Neighbors complained to Alec's parents. Rats had been seen streaming in and out of Alec's bedroom window. Alec quietly picked up the phone and eavesdropped. My wife is thinking about serving rat loaf for dinner, a neighbor said. You must stop this at once. Alec grinned. His parents would have to fix this at last. If not them, then whom? If not now, then when? To Alec's complete astonishment, his mother and father did absolutely nothing. What Alec didn't know was that his parents had been through much worse. His father's family had escaped from a war-torn country. His mother filed their taxes every year without an accountant. A bunch of rats scurrying in and out of their house didn't faze them. Soon enough, the neighbors grew angrier. Alec's family was reported for city violations. When large birds and stray cats began to circle Alec's home to hunt the rats, a concerned citizen appealed to animal control. But nothing could be done to make Alec clean his room. While Alec's parents could be held responsible for damage to other people's property, the city could do nothing if the rats and other animals were only interested in Alec's room. Also, according to the current municipal court, even flocks of birds and droves of cats could not be removed from private property if the animals were indigenous to the town. The city certainly couldn't arrest stray felines for mewling on fences or flying fowl for pooping on the neighbors' heads. The city's hands were tied. So Alec's parents continued to do absolutely nothing. Alec's friends cheered him on. Classmates wore t-shirts that read, "Get your mess on." Others wrote a song called "Dirty as Purdy" to show their solidarity. Still, others carried rubbery gray rats with them to demonstrate that they, too, could live in peace with these adorable creatures. "Dude, I wrote about you as my hero in English class," said a classmate as they passed in the hall. But despite the support, Alec wondered exactly how long he could wake up in the morning to several large hawks staring at him from his bedpost. Outraged by the city's inability to stop a growing catastrophe, the neighborhood began to picket. By the 5th week, Alec's messy room made the 5 o'clock news in the front page of the Bugle. City Hall needs a cleanup to clean up boy's room. Embarrassed by the publicity, City Council called an emergency meeting. New laws would have to be passed to persuade Alec to clean up his room and prevent another situation like this from happening again. The next day, a letter was tacked to Alec's front door. Public health notice. Due to recent events, City Council has begun a new government initiative aimed to protect the health and safety of our citizens. CLEAN, Children Living, Eating, and Acting Neatly. CLEAN inspectors will be conducting random inspections of children's rooms. If a room is declared messy, CLEAN inspectors will issue a verbal warning and demand the room be cleaned within 24 hours. A second violation will result in the forfeiture of 1 month's allowance to CLEAN. Upon receiving a third violation, the child will be grounded in his or her home and issued a standard orange jumpsuit. Activities will be limited to completing extra homework and potty breaks chaperoned by CLEAN personnel. Any child who is cited for a violation will be required to perform 40 hours of cleaning training, which will include, but is not limited to, vacuuming, home organizing, and toilet bowl scrubbing. This order is hereby in effect as of today. Yours in cleanliness, city council. Alec gulped. Things were really about to change, but not for the better. His phone rang off the hook again. This time every kid in town was calling to yell at him. "Way to go, Alec," one complained. "Why wouldn't you just pick up after yourself like you're supposed to?" "Someone in a gas mask is blue lighting my underwear drawer right now," said another. "How could you do this to us?" "Alec, I'll never forgive you," said a third. "Orange is so not my color." As Alec listened to every angry call, he stood in his bedroom and watched baby Serena play in a pile of his litter. It was only a matter of time before CLEAN inspectors would arrive. Just then, baby Serena's passy popped out of her mouth and landed in the pile. She grinned. A siren went off and 6 men in protective suits invaded the room. Alec's pride over the state of his room quickly faded. Was this what he wanted? For other people to take care of it? He looked at the sea of trash, a wallaby-sized rat gnawing his way through the pillows, and the men who were sweeping Serena for parasites. Was this what he wanted for his baby sister's future? He had his answer. That day, Alec began to clean up his room, but unfortunately, he couldn't finish within the allotted time. His room was too far gone. Alec had plenty of time to think about what he had done during cleaning training, while he fluffed pillows and polished a toilet bowl under close supervision. Still, Alec marched onward and never failed another inspection. But what Alec didn't know was, to his parents, a clean room was only the first of many things that were about to change in his life. "Honey," Alec's mother said to her husband, "I think it's time Alec understand that we are not going to finish his homework for him anymore." Alec's father smiled. "Without a doubt." And that's it for today.